Hello everyone and welcome back to my kitchen. Today I'm going to be making broccoli cheddar soup inside a homemade bread bowl. This is going to be so good. Nothing goes better on a rainy day than some delicious warm soup inside a nice warm bread bowl. So if you want to see how I make this, check this out. You guys, this came out so delicious. Let me show you how I made this. So first I made my bread bowls. And to get started on making these delicious bread bowls, we're going to need 1.5 cups of warm water. Now I just stuck this water in the microwave for about 1 minute, and the temperature needs to come up to about 110 degrees. In goes in 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar. I'm also going to put in 3 teaspoons of dry active yeast. Now this is not instant yeast, this is dry active yeast. We're going to give it a good mix. And then I'm going to cover this with a kitchen towel and I'm going to let it sit for 10 minutes. This needs to proof, so just set it to the side and we'll move on. Okay, I thought I would show you the proper way to measure out flour. So I'm grabbing another little cup and I'm using it to pour it into my measuring cup. Next, I'm going to take the back of a knife and I'm just going to level it out. This is how to properly measure 1 cup of flour. I'm going to be pouring this into my stand mixer. If you do not have a stand mixer, you can pour this into a bowl and knead by hand as well. So in goes 4 cups of all-purpose flour. Next, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil. Our yeast mixture has had time to proof. It's been sitting for 10 minutes and you'll see that it is good when it's nice and frothy. Let's go ahead and add that to our bowl. Pour it all in. I'm going to attach the bread hook to my stand mixer here. And before I forget, I'm also going to add in some salt. Okay, I'm adding 1 teaspoon of fine salt. Now, don't use any coarse salt or pink Himalayan salt. It's important that you use fine salt. That way it mixes in well. We're going to start this on the stir feature just to get everything going, because if you start this out fast, your flour is going to fly out of here. I've had that happen to me. So once it kind of starts to get mixed together, we can move this to the next level up. And I never go past a 4. So I kind of go between the 2 and the 4, which is a low speed. And we're going to let this go. We want this to knead for a good 5 to 10 minutes. I'm going to go the full 10 minutes here. As you can see, the dough has came off of the bowl. That is a good sign. While that's mixing, I'm going to set my oven to warm. Okay, once it gets warm, we're just going to turn it off. We do not want to put our dough in there when it's on. Okay, so this has been about 10 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and stop it. And I'm going to transfer my dough onto a oiled bowl. Should look very similar to this. Nice and stretchy. So here I have a large bowl and I'm going to spray it with some nonstick cooking spray. This is olive oil. This is going to help our dough come out better whenever we go to remove it. I'm going to drop my dough in. And I'm going to give this another spray on top. We're going to cover this, and I'm going to put it into that warm oven. Remember, the oven is off. We're going to let this sit in the oven for 1 hour. After the 1 hour, you will see our dough has risen. It's nice and fluffy. This is exactly what you want. I'm going to go ahead and give this just a little knead by hand to form it into a circle. And then we're going to cut this up into 6 pieces. And I'm going to show you how. Alright, I'm going to spray this down. Okay, so I'm going to try to form this into a log, into an even type of log here. Using this pastry cutter or bench scraper, I'm going to cut our shapes here. So I'm just trying to stretch this out a little bit and make it as even as possible. So I'm going to cut this in half, and then I'm going to take each piece and cut those into 3 pieces, just like this. I'm going to do the same thing with the other side. Next, I'm going to take each piece of dough and I'm going to form it into a dough ball. As you can see, I'm just tucking the dough underneath just to form a nice little ball like this. And we're going to place this on a prepared baking sheet. I've lined mine with parchment paper just to help it not stick. Again, I'm going to take this dough and I'm going to form it into a ball and place it on the baking sheet. And I'm going to do this with the remaining pieces of dough that I have. Okay, I'm just going to lightly spray them. Next, I'm going to gently score them down the middle, just forming a cross. I'm going to do it to all of them. Next, I'm going to cover these again with a kitchen towel, and we're going to let these rise for a second time. I'm going to let these rise for 45 minutes. Okay, so these have been resting for 45 minutes, and you can see that they've puffed up really nicely. Next, I'm going to make an egg wash by adding 1 egg and 1 tablespoon of water to this bowl, and we're going to whisk this up until it's nicely incorporated. We're going to use this for our egg wash. Using a pastry brush, we're going to brush this onto our bread bowls. Make sure you coat all of the tops of these bread bowls. I'm going to do this to all of them. Then we're going to stick these in an oven 400 degrees for 15 minutes. These came out so good. Yay! Okay, now that our bread bowls are all made, time to make our broccoli cheddar soup. Okay, next we're going to make this delicious broccoli cheddar soup. Let me show you how. Okay, so here I have 3 carrots that I've sliced and julienned. I have 4 cups of chopped broccoli here. I've already washed this. I have half of a medium onion that I've diced. I'll also be using 5 tablespoons of salted butter, a 1/3 cup of all-purpose flour. I have 12 ounces of evaporated milk. It's 1 can. Half a cup of milk. That's just regular milk. I also have 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, and half a teaspoon of black pepper, 1 tablespoon of minced garlic, I'm also going to be using 2 cups of this cheddar cheese. Now, make sure you use cheese off the block and shred it yourself. It'll make a much better soup. I'm also going to be using 2 cups of chicken broth. This is my homemade chicken broth, but you can use store-bought as well. So these are all of our ingredients for our broccoli cheddar soup. Let's go ahead and get started on making this delicious soup. Okay, so here I have a large pot over medium heat, and I'm adding in our butter and our onion, and I'll also be adding our minced garlic. You're going to give this a good stir, and you're going to sweat these onions and garlic for about 4 minutes. Okay, so we're going to take our flour and we're going to sprinkle that in. And cook this down for about a minute. And just start pouring in our milk while we whisk. Just keep whisking. And I'm going to add our half cup of milk. You want to keep whisking so no lumps form. And then in goes our chicken broth. Turn our temperature up. Bring this to a simmer. While we're waiting for this to come to simmer, I'm going to add the salt, the garlic powder, and the black pepper. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put in our broccoli. It's starting to simmer now. And I'm also going to put in our carrots. Go ahead and give it a good mix. Make sure everything's swimming nicely in there. Okay, once this comes up to a simmer, go ahead and bring it to a medium low. And we're going to cook this for about 8 minutes. Okay, we're going to go ahead and cut up our bread bowls and prepare them for our soup. So I'm just going to cut a circle right on the inside of this bread roll. And I'm going to use a spoon to pull out the center of this roll. It looks so good. Look how spongy this is. Can't wait to eat it. Yum. Okay, so our soup has been cooking for about 8 to 10 minutes. Now at this point, you could grab some of this soup and put it into a blender and blend some of it up if you like that texture. Not all of it, but just about a cupful of it. Or you can also use an immersion blender and get things a little bit more well blended. I'm just going to kind of break up the broccoli with my spatula. I like the big chunks in here. So at this point, go ahead and do it however you prefer it. I'm going to take my cheese. Okay, at this point you want to turn off the heat to your soup. And we're just going to stir this in until all of that cheddar cheese is melted. It's a good time to taste it, so we're going to go ahead. Oh, look at that. Okay, let's go. It's perfect. Okay, our delicious soup is done. It's nice and creamy. It's thickened up a bit. And now we're ready to pour this into our bread bowls. Let's get started on serving this. This is going to be so good. I'm going to top this with more cheddar cheese. This looks so good. Oh, my mouth. It's watery. Here we go. Hot. It was so good. Let's try some of the bread. So delicious. Look how spongy this is. So good. It's creamy. It's cheddary, cheesy. The bread is so spongy. It is so perfect, guys. I hope you guys try this. I hope you like this video. If you do, go ahead and give me a like. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you have not yet. Also, there's a little bell notification, and you can go ahead and click on that so you don't have to miss any of my videos. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. See you in my next video. Bye.